Have you ever noticed how the UFC loves to hype up a new star every year? There's always that one fighter who talks like he's already the next big thing until he gets smashed and reality hits hard. And in 2025, a few of those loud, confident fighters learned the truth the hard way. So today, let's talk about 6 UFC hype trains that got completely derailed, and how cockiness turned into chaos. So what happened to the fighters everyone swore were can't-miss prospects? Who got humbled, who got exposed, and who might still come back stronger? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll see just how quickly the UFC hype machine can chew you up and spit you out. The wrestling prodigy who got outclassed. When Bo Nickal signed with the UFC in 2022, fans went wild. He wasn't your average rookie. He was a 3-time NCAA Division of Wrestling champion, the kind of athlete people called once in a generation. With only 3 professional fights, Bo was already being labeled a future top contender, and at first, he looked unstoppable. He crushed Jamie Pickett in under 3 minutes and then knocked out Val Woodburn, showing he could strike too. The hype train, full speed ahead, Bo's confidence, through the roof. He started calling out Khamzat Chimaev. Me versus Khamzat, USA versus Russia. 2 forces destined to collide. The MMA world loved it. Even other fighters said Bo was the future. But then came the real test. Renier de Ridder, a new UFC signee and former double champ in one championship. De Ridder was a submission expert, cool-headed, and patient. Bo went in overconfident, saying he'd outstrike the striker. But on fight night, De Ridder flipped the script. He stayed standing, peppered Bo with jabs, and made him chase wild punches. In round 2, De Ridder landed a brutal knee to the body. And just like that, the fight was over. The hype vanished in seconds. Social media roasted Bo for weeks, calling him overrated and arrogant. Bo fired back after the fight. Say what you want. When I'm champion, you'll all crawl back. He's still young, still talented. But for now, Bo Nickal learned that wrestling gold doesn't guarantee MMA greatness. The fighting nerd who got schooled. Next, we have Caio Borralho, the self-proclaimed leader of the fighting nerds. He came into the UFC in 2022 with sharp technique and a lot of confidence. He beat Armen Petrosyan, Mahmoud Muradov, and even submitted Michal Oleksiejczuk. After each win, Caio would smile and say, "Look at my face. I don't get hit. I'm high level." By 2024, he looked like a real contender. He beat Jared Cannonier, a former title challenger, and fans started calling him the smart champion in waiting. Then came the big one. A title eliminator in Paris against Nassourdine Imavov. Caio talked big, saying nobody wanted to fight him, that Imavov was scared, and that his jiu-jitsu would make it easy. But the cage tells the truth. Imavov kept the fight standing, stuffed every takedown, and landed clean shots all night. By the end, it wasn't close. A lopsided decision loss for Caio. His momentum disappeared overnight. The fighting nerd had just been schooled by a smarter fighter, and that was only the start of a nightmare week for his team. The Russian killer who got humbled. Caio's teammate Mauricio Ruffi had one of the flashiest rises we've seen. He went viral on Dana White's Contender series for knocking out Khabib's teammate Raymond Magomedov. Fans started calling him the Russian killer. When he debuted in the UFC, he blitzed Jamie Mullarkey in the first round and then grabbed the mic. Islam Makhachev. Enjoy your time at the top, I'm coming. That line made headlines everywhere. He followed it up with another win, then delivered a spinning wheel kick knockout that sent Bobby Green into orbit. He was electric, confident, entertaining, unstoppable. But confidence can turn to arrogance fast. When Islam vacated the belt and Ilia Topuria became champ, Ruffy called him out too. He said he'd put Topuria to sleep in under 2 rounds. The UFC gave him a test. Benoit Saint-Denis, a French savage with endless cardio. Ruffy laughed it off. "I'll finish him easy." But on fight night in Paris, Saint-Denis dragged him to the mat, dominated, and tapped him out in round 2. The crowd erupted. The Frenchman humbled the loud newcomer. That loss slowed Ruffy's hype train to a crawl. Still talented, sure, but his words caught up with him faster than his fists. The wild child who flew too close to the sun. Then there's Jean Silva, the fan-favorite knockout artist from Brazil. Unlike Ruffy, Silva didn't need trash talk. His violence did the talking. He stormed into the UFC by destroying Weston Wilson, then smashed Charles Jourdain and Bryce Mitchell. He had speed, power, and that McGregor-like swagger that gets fans hooked. Silva's backstory made people root for him even more. He grew up autistic, faced brutal childhood trauma, and turned pain into purpose. Every fight looked like a personal war. By early 2025, Silva was knocking everyone out. After beating Malik Bog and submitting Bryce Mitchell, people said he was the next champ at 145. Then came the big test, Diego Lopes, a slick striker with insane timing. The lead-up was wild. Silva claimed Lopes was running scared. They even almost fought at the hotel before weigh-ins. But when the cage door closed, Lopes stayed calm. Silva came out swinging like a man possessed. Wild hooks, flying knees, chaos. And then one perfect counter from Lopes, boom. Lights out. Silva was out cold, and just like that, the killer became the victim. After the fight, Lopes looked at the camera and said, "Talk less. Train more." That quote spread everywhere. It didn't just end Silva's streak. It humbled the entire Fighting Nerds camp. The heir who fell short. Next, we go to the bantamweight division. Home to Umar Nurmagomedov, Khabib's cousin. He came in undefeated, with world-class wrestling and slick kicks. Analysts said he might be better than Khabib. More complete, more dangerous. He proved it early, dominating Brian Kelleher and Corey Sandhagen. Everyone thought a title was only a matter of time. Umar started calling out Merab Dvalishvili, saying Merab was scared. Merab snapped back, "He beat one guy in the top 15 and thinks he's ready? He's not." The trash talk built up until the UFC made it official. Merab versus Umar for the title. The build-up was heated, and when they faced off, you could feel the tension. Umar looked sharp early, quick kicks, smooth takedowns. But Merab is a machine. He keeps coming. He drags you into deep waters. By round 4, Umar was gassed. By round 5, he was broken. Merab won by unanimous decision, handing Umar his first loss. It wasn't just a loss. It was a reality check. Umar posted afterward that he'd been robbed, but fans weren't buying it. Merab said it best, "He's good, but he still needs to earn it." This is the UFC, not the Nurmagomedov family business. A harsh reminder, in the UFC, nobody gets free passes. The sugar show that lost its flavor. Finally, we have the man who made MMA feel like TikTok, Sean O'Malley. From his first Contender Series knockout, you knew he had something special. Colorful hair, crazy knockouts, and the line that started it all. Welcome to the Sugar Show. Sean was born to entertain. He flattened Eddie Wineland, outclassed Thomas Almeida, and finally knocked out Aljamain Sterling to win the title. Fans called him the next Conor McGregor. He defended the belt once, beating Chito Vera in a rematch. Revenge complete. But after that, his focus slipped. He started chasing boxing superfights with Tank Davis instead of studying his next opponent. Merab Dvalishvili. Sean mocked Merab at pressers, saying, "He's boring. He's stupid. I'll put him face first on Saturday." But Fight Night told another story. Merab took him down at will, out-pressured him, even won some striking exchanges. Sean landed a few flashy kicks, but Merab walked through them. 5 rounds later, Merab had the belt, and the Sugar Show was shut down. Sean got a rematch a year later. Same result. The star who once ruled the spotlight suddenly looked lost. He's still marketable, still talented, but the era of easy wins and flashy talk is over. If O'Malley wants that belt again, he'll have to grind like everyone else. So what do all these stories teach us? It's not that these fighters were bad. Far from it. They were amazing talents. But this sport doesn't care about your highlight reels or your followers. In MMA, the cage exposes everything. If you underestimate your opponent, even for a second, the MMA gods will humble you. Bo Nickel learned that being the best wrestler doesn't mean you can strike. Caio learned that IQ fighting doesn't help when someone's just better. Ruffy learned that talk doesn't win against grit. Silva learned that chaos needs control. Umar learned that legacy doesn't equal destiny. And O'Malley, well, he learned that the UFC isn't a show, it's a grind. The sport is ruthless, but that's also what makes it great. Every time someone falls, another rises. So, who had the biggest crash? Bo Nickal's first loss? Silva's KO by Lopes? Or O'Malley's fall from fame? Let me know in the comments which hype train got humbled the hardest. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and check out our next video. Time's cocky UFC fighters got completely destroyed and humbled. Because in this game, confidence gets you noticed. But humility keeps you standing when the lights go out.